Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Dad and Buried podcast. It is episode
62.
62. Is that true?
62. That is true. That's the truth.
I wonder if we'll make it to the magic number.
But what's the magic number?
I don't know, pervert.
64.
Tell me.
Oh, I see. We're going pervert on this. Yeah, I got it now.
Yeah,
65.
like when me thinks he does protest too much. What's the magic number? I don't know. So my name is Mike, also known as Dad and Buried if you're on the internet, and this is my co-host Pete, who is barely on the internet at all.
Yeah, no, was recently voted the top 5 podcasters in my household.
Wow.
So
your daughter does have a good ballet podcast.
Yeah, and I narrowly lost out to my son, my 5-year-old son, who just threw a tantrum. And so I got number 5. But listen, I'll take it. Obviously my wife was the governing body on this one. So
obviously.
Yeah.
I don't think we're ranking podcasters. I think we're just ranking people at this point.
Yep. Yeah. I think that sounds about right.
So it's funny that you mentioned a tantrum because we had a bit of an explosion tonight that we're going to get into. It was during the bedtime routine.
Yes.
But what's funny, and this is one of the reasons this topic came up, is I had a couple of people. Actually, Nate, our producer, suggested something like, "What's your least favorite parenting? Like your small task that you try to pawn off on your spouse." Do you remember he suggested it a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
And then someone messaged me, and a couple of people have messaged me through the years about some of the minutia that they hate.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in the past, we did that episode about like big chores or big parts we hate, and one of them would definitely be bedtime. But lately, there's like little discrete units of bedtime. Right, and some of them are worse than others, and I'm gonna break down.
We're gonna break down the discrete units of what you hate.
It's the science.
By putting your
scientific
kids to bed.
podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's everything, and then somebody put it really well. That there are no tiny tasks. Everything is a long, drawn out wrestling match or shit show or something, and that's true. Stuff that should take a second that you take for granted as something you do, like putting your shoes on, it can take an hour. And it sucks. So just saying like getting dressed is different than being like putting shoes on or getting them to tie their shoelaces. And that's what we're going to get into tonight. We're going to break down the tiny bits and pieces of life or parenting that make parenting so miserable.
Cannot wait to get into this.
What people respond to is the joy that I take and that you take in hating this stuff, right?
Exactly. All right, well, let's do it then.
Well, before we do it, Pete,
okay.
I want to thank some of the people that have helped us get over the 200 review hump.
Yes.
Forgot last week and kind of did an impromptu recorder show at the very end when Mama Berry threw my recorder in. I have my recorder this time. And I may assault some of you a little bit later with it. I have not done any practice since last week because what's the point of practicing? Even the best sounding recorder in the world I think we said when the recorder was invented is in direct correlation with the Black Plague and the Black Death when it ripped through our entire. Well, the Pied Piper played the recorder, and the kids followed him out to beat the shit out of him.
that's what the intent was. And,
so today I was actually my son came down after I found the recorder again and played it for a minute. My son came down and was like, "That is the sound of hell." Even he knows, and he spelled it HELL, which was
that's good.
I don't know why he did that. There was no one else in the room but he and I. You still obviously know and said the word, so I don't know what you're protecting or who you're trying to protect. Anyway, we do want to acknowledge the people that help make this show possible with their reviews. Again, we're up to 204 on Apple. We always need more. Wow. We get to 250 or 300, we'll come up with some other stupid thing to do that nobody will like play the recorder on air. Right. We're going to do a little bit later. And there are a bunch of people that give us money through Anchor and Patreon. I'm going to run through the names, almost like Micro Machine style. Remember that guy?
I like it. Yeah.
Let's see how quickly I can do their names, okay?
Yeah.
Ryan Miller, MS Buying, check your kids at the door. Chris Coleman, MC Dana 1980, Mallory McKenzie, Miriam, Tina Davis, Lindsay Woodruff, Andrew Sandoval, Barbara Geiger, Bill Domingue, Dana Bosday, Jacques Govar, Morning Glow, Cotton Farmer AZ, Wes Clark, Jennifer Wynn, Julie McCarthy, Paula Polsky, Mary Williams, Julie Burton.
Did it. You nailed it.
If I didn't have to page down, it would have been faster. You've all heard your names before. We thank you very much. If you slow that down, you know what? When it comes out, I'm going to slow it down 2 times and see if it's understandable that way.
And maybe your voice will get even that much sexier.
That's impossible.
For a win.
My brother, let me say, and part of the impetus for me doing the Micro Machine thing was my brother the other day. I asked him what he thought of the podcast, like recently.
You asked him where your Micro Machines were and what the hell?
He messaged me and said, because I mentioned him last week, he messaged me about the reference, and immediately after these are done being recorded, I forget every single thing that I said.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know what I said about him. I hope it wasn't too bad. And then he said that my face was too close to the camera because last week I was in my bedroom. Was Mama Bird was out here watching Little Fires Everywhere, and then he said that the intro was where we list everybody's names was too long. So in your face, Rob, not too long tonight. How about that?
There you go. You showed him, Mike. You know
what's funny? You know what's not on that list? His name.
Oh, Rob. What's up,
Hurtful.
Dude?
Hurtful. Yeah. Or my parents' names or your parents' names.
You know what? Why doesn't Rob sell some of his Micro Machines that he stole from you and get that on eBay and then start Patreoning us?
We should do. I know that you in the past you have talked about wanting to do an episode about what we were like as kids. And maybe I can get some of Rob's input on that.
Okay.
You can get some of your siblings' input. We can do one of those.
Yeah, no, I don't communicate with my siblings anymore.
No, it's probably a good idea. Avoid problems like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, when we get back, we're not going to talk about why our brothers are ungrateful and rude and don't support us in our lifelong dreams of parenting podcasts. We're going to talk about the tiny little discrete units of parenting chores that suck the most shit.
Cannot wait.
Everybody needs this right now.
See you right after this.
All right, everybody, we are back with, I think this should be the title. It's really catchy. The discrete units of parental chores that suck the most shit.
Perfect. What an amazing title. I mean, honestly, Mike, I don't know if we want to do that much of a clickbaity title.
You know what the title is?
People could be jamming on that.
I'm going to tell you right now. People don't know that you write the titles and the little blurb every week. Yeah. On the podcast listing services. The title for this should be Sweating the Small Stuff.
Okay, Mike, you know what?
Goddamn grand slam.
I'll run it through the committee and we'll see. Yeah, we got a little committee. So
Nate, you better back me on this one. That's our whole committee. Exactly. So we did want to talk about the tiny little bits of stuff that really make parenting miserable. And what's funny is, so tonight, the past few days, actually, we've been having bedtime issues. And why I think the tiny bit thing is relevant is that it's not the whole thing. It's not even some of the worst parts, which we're going to get into, teeth brushing. It's not that. It's not really even getting dressed. It's not going to their rooms. It's playing in bed. My toddler can't not have Legos. My older kid can't not read, but we've been letting them sleep.
What a dick!
Yeah, I know. We've been letting them sleep.
I keep telling you, stop reading them books.
He uses a Kindle,
son,
and he listens to music on the Kindle, and we've on his headphones, and we've been letting him share. We've been letting them share the bed during quarantine. The two brothers. We have a pull-out sofa bed.
You?
No, they're bed together. Rather than sleep in their own separate beds in the same bedroom. We're letting them sleep in the same bigger bed.
You know what? Good idea, because why make it easier on yourselves when you can make it 10 times harder by putting two kids in the same bed together?
Yes.
I like your style, Mike. I'm starting to get the whole concept behind Dad and Buried. You're just like self-perpetuating hell. Okay.
It had been going pretty well. Well, you know what? This is the whole thing. We tried to do something nice for our kids.
I know, and it backfired
on us.
Time.
And then what happens is everything becomes not nice for everybody because they violate whatever we've given them and they ruin it, and we scream at them and then they're crying and they scream back, and then it's like, fuck everybody. Yeah. That's what happened tonight. They weren't going to sleep. They were playing around. One of them was playing Legos. The other one, I don't know what he was doing. My toddler only communicates in screams right now, so no matter what's happening, he's just screaming like somebody's dying. and it's odds are he like couldn't find one of his Lego pieces, and it's just like 90% of the bedtime routine has been going great lately. It's not been a struggle. The struggle is they refuse to actually shut their eyes. They don't even come up. They're just down there like wrestling and making noise. Again, they should be in the same bed, Pete. You're right. Yeah. We had to separate them tonight. Shit went south real fast. I said, Daddy's got his podcast. Yeah. They didn't care. You know why? They don't care about anything.
No. That's, you know what? I've learned not to use the P word in the house. You just
Do you know, in a couple of years, or even probably next year, Detective Munch is going to, speaking about weaponizing, he's going to use that word to humiliate me so often.
Yes, I do know.
How's the podcast?
I do know. Yeah, trust me.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm getting heat left, right, and center. As I said, top 5 podcasters in this household is my current rank.
You know what? Jokes on all these kids when we make that one of our most popular episodes.
Good
when
point.
Our kids mocked us for having a podcast.
Well, I wish I could share the same, but unfortunately here at Chez Pete, it's Paradise Cove.
Is it?
It's not to be confused with Cabot Cove from Murder She Wrote.
Paradise Cove was from like a reality dating show or something.
Well, it's nothing like a reality dating show here. It's just just people really enjoying their dad. And really just sending love my way. Listen, I love education. I love learning. And I've learned so much about all the different things that I can do better to make everyone else's life so much better. And
that's what you're learning. So it's not your kids that are learning from remote classroom or whatever. It's you learning how you need to improve yourself.
All the different things that I'm doing that are just so dumb every day. So it's a learning experience and it's a growing experience. And as you know, Mike, I love growing.
We know you do.
Yeah.
Speaking of growing my dad bod, I've been giving dad bod updates every week. It's not going anywhere, folks.
Yeah? Okay, good.
It is going to outlast the coronavirus.
Is it coming into its prime? Dad bod prime?
I've been trying not to look at it.
Okay, good.
I don't want to know. How about that? Yeah. We're on a need-to-know basis. I don't need to know at this point. I'm trying to survive.
All right.
I'm trying to survive quarantine.
All right. Well, let's get into these beautiful little moments. So, are you with your bedtime situation? Is it just? It's literally just having them go to sleep. Is that what the?
Yeah. No. It's like they don't. We're fine with getting them to brush their teeth. They're getting in their PJs. We're bringing them downstairs.
Going to sleep.
Yes, it is just going to sleep. And then again, like I said, they're not even coming up, which is one of the big problems. But it's just like I think part of it's because they're cooped up inside. They're maybe not burning as much energy as they might be at school or with recess and stuff. It's been rainy the past couple of days, so some of it is obviously on us, but a lot of it is on how horrible they are as human beings. To be honest. So I did ask, what are the really small bits and pieces of parenting that you hate and the tasks that you try to pawn off on your spouse or your partner? And I got a lot of responses. A couple of them were just general bitching, like Mimosas with Moms has a great podcast, says she hates bath time. I hate bath time too, but there are little discrete units of bath time that are worse. And we're going to get into some of those. Okay. Don't Bite Your Friend said, I hated bathing my kids. Thankful they're old enough to shower on their own. Do all your kids shower? What about your youngest?
Everybody is
showers
able
by
to
himself.
Yeah, and what I do is when he's like, "Hey, can you turn the shower on?" I'm like, "Oh, really? You need my help? Okay, fine." And he's like, "No," because I'm like, "Oh, because I thought like a big kid could do it." Yeah. No, never mind. I got it. And he's like, "No. I totally remember now." See,
you're a master. You're a master, Pete.
You do. I'm learning. Get in there. You get in there. And you make those little like mix
psychologically.
Yeah, and you just mix it up.
KL8857 said homework. A bunch of people said homework. Ali Ta said doing homework is the absolute worst. Again, I agree. But are there specific bits and pieces of the homework process that are worse? It's a little bit harder to break homework up unless you're going by subject.
Well, it's now that I have a roommate now, an office mate, which is my middle daughter during the day. Yes. So I work and she does her schoolwork in the same room as me. And it's like homework, but it's much, much worse because it's all, for me, it's about the concentration. So she'll just get so easily distracted. I'll be like, hey, just, how how to do this. Like this maths, she knows how to do it.
Yeah.
Like just bang it out, and then I'll sit with her and she'll just be like, oh, no, that's, X, Y, and Z. And she'll just bang it out. And I'm like, oh, you got it. And I'll get up and I'll sit down. And then 20 minutes later, she'll be just looking at her pencil tip. Just like just doing that. And I'm like, hey, did you finish that? I'm getting stuck. I'll go over, sit down, and she'll bang out the next question just without even like thinking about it. I'm like, okay, so what am I doing here?
Attention.
She's
screaming out for you, Pete.
I know, but that's the problem. I don't want her to. I need her to quiet down. Yeah, no.
I'm working.
Yeah. Trying.
So another big one that we've talked about in the past is Annie T44 says potty training is my nightmare. Only one more kid to go. Now, I'm still potty training the hammer. He's almost done, but he occasionally has the occasional setback with number 2. Every once in a while I'll quiz him. I'll be like, all right, what's number 1? And he'll be like, or I'll ask him what he has to go, and he'll say 1 or 2. And I go, what's number 1? He'll go, P. What's number 2? 2. And then he said, I want to go number 3. And I said, what's that? And he said, pooping out hot dogs.
Ah, well,
right? Interesting.
Well, he went straight to college, basically. He just skipped everything and just went to college.
So again, potty training sucks as a whole. But let's break it down, Pete. All right. We broke it down. My listeners, our listeners, my followers on Instagram broke it down. And one of the 2 main parts was taking out the diaper pail. We call it a Diaper Genie. That's the brand we have. Pulling out the bag, tying it up. You can cut it with the little piece of like a cutter inside it. I think I've said this before. I'm never more terrified in my life than when I'm like carrying that out the hallway to bring it outside of the trash. My old apartment, when I lived in Raleigh briefly, we had you could walk down 4 flights. You could go the whole length of the big apartment complex hallway and drop it in the garbage chute. Just absolutely terrified that thing is going to burst and spill everywhere.
You would drop it? You would drop because that thing weighs like 10 pounds full of just excrement and feces. Like drop it down like a shaft that explode in the downstairs space.
You know what? That sounds like YP, not an MP.
Oh, yeah. You know what? You're empathetic. That's what you are. You love too much.
So a bunch of people said that the emptying the Diaper Genie was a huge pain. But the biggest small piece of the process, although I don't know that I would call it a small piece, is wiping butts.
Yeah.
The wiping the butt part. So a lot of it is training the kid to know when he has to go, not hiding behind the curtain when he has to go, not peeing his pants overnight, that kind of thing. But the part that sucks the worst is even when they're like halfway trained. Somebody said this. Half an Acre said, I hate being summoned to the toilet to wipe an ass when I'm enjoying my first cup of coffee.
Yeah, yes.
They don't go together.
That is, those two.
Ryan Such, Sutch, says he hates wiping asses, especially once they're old enough to do everything else themselves, right? So they'll go to the bathroom, they know the signs, pull down the pants, get on the potty, do it, and then they still need you to finish the job for them.
So I've got the 5-year-old, and he's pretty good. Every once in a while, he'll say, "Dad, can you wipe me?" And I'll say, "Did you wipe first?" So I'll go in. Go in for cleanup duty. You know what I mean? If I need to, because
literally,
basically. But and then he's like, "Oh, okay." Sometimes I think he's just kind of throwing it out there because he's got he's like his dad. He's extremely lazy and has just wants someone else to wipe his ass, just like his dad.
Mustn't be nice to see that reflected in your son.
It is.
Your worst qualities.
Exactly.
Boyerstein says, obviously wiping butts is the worst. My toddler still uses a little potty, so I also have to dump the poop.
Now I'd say that's the worst. That is really, really just awful.
Poop.
It's just once they figured out how to poop on the potty, and then you're actually just transferring human waste from one receptacle into the toilet. That's gross. That's not cool.
You just made it so much more visceral.
I know. Well, that's because that's what it is. It is all about the visceral. This is what this nuanced episode is about.
Get too visceral.
Yeah.
The smell that you get when you open up the Diaper Genie just to seal it up or throw something in there, it's like getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
By the Hulk.
Okay.
It's disgusting. You don't know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Next time you come over.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll just step on the pedal for you. You get a little pop.
Thanks.
It's the worst.
And
here's another funny little discrete unit that I agree with 100%. JRC 412 says taking them to the bathroom when you're at a restaurant.
Oh my God.
The worst.
JRC, why did you have to bring that up? I've got PTSD from that. Just don't touch anything. And of course, if the restaurant is like no good, like if it's like if you're at a restaurant where, you probably shouldn't be using the bathroom to begin with, and your kid, like a McDonald's or something, whatever, just something where you just know, like you're nervous to go into that bathroom as a grown adult, right?
Yes.
And then you got to take your little kid there, and your kid's like,
panicking.
Let me just, or the park,
like?
Or the park. Have you ever been to a park bathroom?
Don't do that.
Oh my God.
They're like flooded.
Oh, it's so horrible. That is the worst. So yes, congratulations, JRC 412. You have in fact won.
What about when it's like right when the food gets put down in front of you, and you had already previously asked your kid if he had to go, and he said he didn't, and then the food gets put down in front of you, and you're about to dig in, and he's like, "Daddy, I gotta go potty." You're just like, oh, you snap the fork over your knee. God, I hate that. So C.W. Bullard.
To a round of applause by onlooking guests. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Impressive. C.W. Bullard says he hates the butt wiping. He says freaking wiping another person's ass. He really boils it down. He says, to me, it's way worse than diaper changing. And I think that's... So when we used to change your son's diaper, you could like lay him down and like, deal with it that way. Now it's like they're on the toilet and like he's got to bend over for you and you got to like push him down to try to wipe. We're getting into a lot of details.
Well, that's the point, right?
That is the point. The details are the point, Pete. Look at you on theme. So we're sticking around the bathroom because that's where all the magic happens, as he used to say in MTV Cribs. And a bunch of people did complain about teeth brushing. And before we get into that, I want to ask you something, Pete. Do your kids floss?
That is a good question. My middle 9-year-old daughter does. 12-year-old, nope. And 5-year-old. Who cares? We're bringing.
We go to the dentist, and I mean, I haven't gone to the dentist in a while, thanks to COVID-19. Thanks a lot, COVID-19. Yeah. Would like advise from when my kid was like 3, like floss for them. I'm like, what? I don't even floss my own teeth. You're gonna floss some maniac toddler's teeth?
When the dentist said that, did they have their mask on, and were they just like trying to like bite their lower lip as like watch this? Hey, Carol, come here. I'm gonna get this guy to floss his toddler's teeth. Watch this. Watch this. Okay.
Where's Ashton? Ashton?
Yeah. Okay, so I recommend you floss your kids' teeth. Cool.
So Queen Bee HBIC, which I think stands for Queen Bee Head Bitch in Charge, I think. Okay. Queen Bee HBIC, NYRA, 3 Amy, and Alexandra Overgard, who's a frequent commenter, all mentioned the teeth brushing. So did Funky Fee, one of our patrons. Nobody mentioned flossing, which I think lends credence to your theory that I was being punked.
I'm pretty sure.
No kids really floss.
No.
But so Funky Fee was like, you have to brush their teeth several times a day, like twice a day, or you train your kids to. But when they're really young and you're training them to do that, she said it's just endless yelling, getting them to do it. Dana Bosday says making them do it, and then they inevitably want you to do it for them. And she's like, I stab their gums on accident. And I don't know if she meant that it was on accident. First of all, she should have said by accident, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, no, not. I think so.
On
yes,
accident
but you know what? It's the internet.
Incorrect. So. Anyway, it's not germane, I guess, to the conversation that we're having. But she said she stabs their gums by accident, and then she says also, and we're gonna get into some laundry stuff. Picking up the clothes next to the hamper, which I think my wife would blame on me just as much as on the kids, and the random socks everywhere. So I just did a round of laundry. 500 socks that don't have pairs.
Right.
That don't have partners.
Right.
And, little off topic, my wife keeps losing underwear to the point that she like accuses me, because I do most of the laundry, accuses me of botching it or like doing something on purpose to hide her underwear. Which
there's a lot of like opening the window and just chucking,
throwing out her
lots.
panties.
You know what? What she needs to understand is the underwear that appears underneath the BQE isn't going to get there by itself. Someone has to.
It's a public service.
Someone has to put all these underpants all over the street where we live. Otherwise, how are our kids going to be like, Dad, are those underpants on the street? Yeah. Like, yes, it is, son. Yes, it is.
It's a part of life, and it's somebody's got to do it. But tonight when I was doing the laundry, I made a point of like noticing that there was some of her underwear in the laundry. And then when I folded it all, which is all surrounding me right now, there's none. And I went to her and I'm like, I've got some bad news. They're missing again. And I'm not sneaking them.
In between.
Why would I need to sneak them?
Well, first of all, I'm noticing your body language is a lot more relaxed right now.
You know what? Yeah, I'm feeling it's like Bull Durham. I'm really feeling it down there. Anyway, let's get off the panties situation. I just took mine off. I nailed it. Yeah. It wasn't even close to being nailed. But laundry was another big complaint, specifically folding of the laundry, and picking up clothes. And
wait, can we before we move on to laundry? I just need to do something that Dana Bosday mentioned about the brushing the teeth that has not been mentioned. Let's not forget just that singular glob of toothpaste that barely made it from the brush to the mouth, then back to the sink that's just sitting there. And then with any luck, it's dried. It's been dried over hours and hours because no one checked the bowl before you had to run off to school. This is pre-COVID, of course, but also now it's happening now where you just like someone's barely put it in their mouth and then spit it out and it's just kind of clumped there. That's a wonderful joy. Oh, but don't worry because it's when you rub it, it spreads. Oh, yay.
It's funny it's funny you should mention that because they are so bad at brushing their teeth, but you are so eager to stop having to help them that like you wash your hands of it. And then a couple of weeks later, you realize, like, you see their teeth, or you're just like, what? Or you send them to go brush their teeth, and they're done in, like, 3 seconds. You're like, what are you doing? 30 seconds a quadrant.
Right?
2 minutes.
Like, what's a quadrant? You're like, I don't even know.
I know. We didn't get to that part in math yet. So it's funny you mentioned that about a spot of toothpaste, which made me think of a comment that I got from Sierra Roxanne, who says she hates doing spot treatment on articles of clothing. She just throws her own in there. And I'm like, why are you doing spot treatment on kids' clothing? They're going to outgrow it. Anyway, your whole family, Pete, is just going to give it all to me. And I don't care if there's stains on it. We went through a lot of those this weekend. We have so many of your clothes, hand-me-downs. But I don't think I've ever done, unless there's like a particular piece of clothing that I was like really attached to or really liked my kid in. I've never done like OxyClean or whatever on it. Have you?
Right. No, I haven't, but I'm sure my wife has managed to.
I couldn't care less about my kids' clothes at this point.
Yeah, the spot treatment, I'm not sure if there's ever something that we would really be into, as you say. Like there's the only thing I could think of, but we don't wear any nice clothes, like if we don't go to church, so we don't have like those church.
And especially now, and you live in Brooklyn, it's just hipster gear, ratty stuff, and
ratty,
now just in PJs.
Exactly. We've kind of gone. We keep going down the ladder of acceptable clothing. I saw a guy walking around today, by the way, just in literally like a robe with shorts and flip flops. And I just immediately thought of you. Just the sort of Did you ever see that Seinfeld where George he meets a girl and she doesn't care how he dresses, so he just drapes himself in velvet? He's like, why wouldn't I just be comfortable? If the person I'm with doesn't care, I am all set. And that's what marriage is all about. Letting yourself go. Yeah. KT Brothers says she hates mating socks, which we mentioned. I'm convinced my washer and dryer, one or the other, eats socks as well. I know that's a phenomenon that happens. Have you heard of it? Sure. Yeah. That and cell
Don't patronize me.
Sure.
Don't patronize me. Sure, so I thought this was a funny little one because it's not everyone's going to have it. But ALKRAV5 says she hates getting socks and clothing from upstairs. Right. So just like the little bit that you have to do, like, oh, you're down where the laundry machine is. Then you're like, oh, I got to go up and get more to put it in or whatever. just these little pieces. And kids have I cannot believe the amount of clothes my 4-year-old has, largely thanks to you, but just in general. We threw out a whole bunch this weekend, or like set up piles for like Goodwill or whatever, once you can do that again. And it's like they multiplied. We still have 1 million more items of clothing that he's not gonna be able to wear tomorrow, let alone in 2 weeks or 2 months.
No.
Can't stand it. I can't stand you. We're on Seinfeld. You get it? Can't stand you. So this one, I wonder if you've ever dealt with it. I got to find the name, but somebody said wiping dog shit off of their shoes.
Oh my God.
Off the kids' shoes.
Oh my God. I think I've only had to do that once or twice. Actually, that's really amazing. I think I've only had to do that once. I was thinking about that too. I cannot believe that.
Because we live in the city, and because if we live in a good neighborhood, the people clean up their dog's poop with what do they call them?
What?
Diaper baggies? Something? What are they called? The poopy?
Doggy bags? Yeah, dog bags, something like
that. So SL Reed 92 was the one who said that cleaning dog shit. She said, I swear my kids step in all the dog shit, which is maybe why ours don't.
Yeah.
Our kids are
they've got it covered. Just
one off the streets.
Kind of one to the next. Yeah, that's really lame, by the way. Just when you're like even having the opportunity to step in that by not picking up your dog shit is gross. It's
gross. But if she lives in like the suburbs or something, it might be like in a yard or something like that, which is just clearly the kid's fault.
Yeah. Also, my kids are true city kids because they now know like you never walk at the base of a tree in the city ever. You never go. There's like usually a little like brick sort of outline kind of at the base. You never even step near that because that's where all the dogs.
And there'll be a sign in there that says like curb your dog.
Well, not even if there's a sign, but not even like even if it's just like at the base of the tree, you just don't even go there. Anything, just the amount of yelling that's had to go in as someone's tried to reach for like a cool branch or something cool like acorn. Cool you're just like, oh please, come on. There are some cool branches.
Oh no, my are there?
Yeah, there's some real cool ones. But yeah, you gotta keep that yelling up. So that's why I've only done two poop wiping incidents.
I'd be curious to know, right? So we did the episode, city versus suburbs when it comes to parenting. I'd be curious to know how many of my followers are in the city situation and how many aren't, whether it's suburbs or more rural, and to know who relates to this and who doesn't.
Yeah, we should go back to that episode where we did a whole, we talked about it for.
Well, I should take a poll.
Okay. Right. And what do you want to do with that poll? Where are you going to put it?
Right up your ass. All right. Okay. So here's one we've talked about before: nail clipping. Jay Helmstetler says nail clipping is the worst. I watched them scream when mom did it. So now I'm not even going to try. So he just lets his wife handle it. I am with him.
There's no nail clipping happening at our household.
Do you ever file under their nails to get the dirt out?
No.
Have you ever seen my toddler every once in a while shows up with, and he's got like a Coke nail.
Yeah.
But it's all his fingers. And I'm like, that's literally, to me, that creeps me out. I'm like, I find it disgusting. It really bothers me. Please let me clip your nails now.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to, obviously, because he thinks it's going to hurt. I'm like, it's not going to hurt. These things grow when you're dead. They don't feel pain.
No, it's luckily my 12-year-old now is into manicures, so that takes care of that. My wife sort of manages the nails on that end. I've had to clip my son's fingernails, and that's been okay. His toenails are the weirdest things I've ever seen, and
they're like Guinness Book of World Records. They curl up.
They're just like weird and like the consistency. They're like brittle. I don't know.
Consistency. What's the
just weird? They're so thin. I don't know what's going on with it. So I'm not going. I'm just gonna let him figure it out. Yeah. I'll creep myself out. Just think about it.
RIS_Noel says the same thing. I clipped their nails once and was like, nope, stressed me out. There's a meme going around that shows like the equivalent of clipping your kid's nails. It's like one panel is clipping your kid's nails, the other panel is like diffusing a bomb. You're just so scared you're gonna set them off or accidentally cut them.
I mean, the baby nails. Oh my God! When they're like infants and you have to clip their nails because they're gonna. Or you can put the glove. what we did is we just sewed on like those mittens until they were 8, and then it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And then there's like a big
hands.
Yeah, and then it's like how there's like baby gender reveal parties. You have big like mitten reveal parties, and you take off the mittens, and you're like, oh my god, your hands are so gross. After all these years, it's really good. It's good.
So this is a question for you because I don't have this problem. Not Paleo Pete, no relation, says he hates hair brushing. It's a fucking shit fight every night. Do you deal with that with daughters? No,
I don't.
Never.
I've never. I mean, when I say never, I have brushed my daughter's hair, of course, but not to the extent where. First of all, I'm 3 strokes in, and they're like, Dad, give me that thing.
Or they take
and
over.
From 2, from when the first time they could grab something out of my hand and then do it themselves, that's the effect I had on their heads.
But is it stressful? Is it like nail clipping? You're worried you're gonna hurt them, tug or get caught?
No. I mean, like I said, I haven't really done it a ton, enough to have it phase, but it wasn't a big deal. Like,
well, Alicia,
you can't have the kids wake up and then take a dry brush and then go at it.
No.
It's like after a bath. Yeah, you do, and usually it's fine.
So Alicia.Richie Martin says, my husband refuses to brush their hair after a bath, especially the curly-haired kid, even after the bath. So she says, especially the curly-haired kid, which leads me to believe he had an incident or two where he's trying and it's just can't like get it yanked.
Done. Yeah, well,
guys have a different relationship to hairbrushing than women do, right? We're not as gifted.
No, not gifted.
Unless you're like Fabio.
He's gifted. Can you imagine being married to Fabio?
I wish. Please don't make me imagine it again. So meal stuff. Again, feeding kids is a nightmare, but there are some specific parts of it that are worse. So Sun Fun FEMA says meal prep. Cutting up their food is so tedious.
Okay.
My toddler still, like, he doesn't want to eat the whole hot dog or even a whole pizza. Right. He wants us to cut it into pieces. And like, you're all ready to eat and stuff. Then you're like, God damn, I'm going to cut this kid's food. And then he's going to refuse to eat it anyway. I hate that. And I think that really resonated with me. Somebody else said cutting the apples in proper sizes, cutting the apple slices properly. We all know how particular kids can be about like cutting crusts off and all that kind of stuff. Rebel Evans said cutting their apples into the correct sizes. So we have a core, like one of those things that you like push down in the apple.
Do you use it? Yeah, I don't know.
I think we lost it, but I grew up with one, so I'm used to using it. Although with some apples, it's just as easy to use a knife.
Yeah.
But the core can be nice, and then you don't have to deal with the sizing. You just leave it as is, and you get what you fucking get because we use the core. It's the 21st century.
And then you put the core like back on its sort of religious pedestal. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. There's a shrine to the core. But it sounds to me like you don't have a problem with meal prep.
No, I don't. That's not been a chore. I don't find that terribly taxing compared to all the other things we've been talking about.
What about refilling juice? Alchemist King says he hates, or she, I assume he, because King, hates refilling juice, especially because they always ask as soon as I sit down.
I'll
it doesn't have to be juice. Okay?
I'll go along with this one. It's really about the inertia. It's overcoming that inertia, just so that I felt that comment. Like when you sit down, you're like, okay, everyone's got everything. I'm ready, and you're just ready to just let go and just consume your own food. And just before you're about to do that, because the inertia has set in now, and you're about to sit down, someone's like, "Hey, can you get up and get me? Pants. Yeah, can you go up and get me some juice?" It's okay. It's just right over there. It's about 10 steps over. You got to get up. You got to move yourself. You got to scooch back. Mm-hmm. There's all sorts of stuff. Oh, don't spill the thing because the table's full of possible, things that could fall over. And you got to navigate all that just as you sat down and just as you want to lay. That's what I
wanted to dig in.
That's what I relate to. And
Half an Acre says the same thing about having to get up and get snacks right when you sit down, because they always want snacks. And you're sitting down, you're trying to watch The Lost Boys or a game or something.
Okay.
And they ask for snacks.
Yeah, sure. I think
that doesn't bother you as much.
What we've done is we've placed all of the kids' food low enough
that they can get all their own snacks. Yeah, but you don't
like,
let
Dad,
them
I'm hungry.
refill all the snacks.
No, but I tell them what, I'm like, you can have a yogurt.
Get it. Yeah.
You can have a smoothie. You can have, okay, fine. If there's a little bit of meth left, you can have some of it. Just stop scratching your neck.
So you have stepped on the_Mrs._Bramley says she hates opening snacks, which you seem to have found a way around.
Well, they'll bring them to me and all.
Oh, they bring.
I'm okay. I'll oblige with an opening.
Putting a straw in like a Capri Sun or a juice box or whatever.
I found it. What works really well is if you take it and you smash on the ground, you go, God damn it! Kids will never ask you
for one again.
Yeah.
After you've struggled for a while to get it in.
Fuck! And you just lose it at the Capri Sun. You stare at the Capri Sun. The Capri Sun has to be on the ground. Hopefully it's burst. And you're just screaming at the ground. It's just a one and done. They'll never ask you for another Capri Sun again.
Well, you know what? It's too late for me because I never did that. And I'm always having to stick that goddamn straw in. And I'm always so nervous.
You know what, Mike? I'm trying to make experiences that my kids will remember. So unfortunately, you can't go to Disney anymore. So I'm making little memories. Little memories.
So speaking of memories, this is a question I had for you. A lot of people, K. Frell, a Sellers Marketplace, KT McCracken, 4/5 of a Kayak, all complained about washing baby bottles and like breast pump stuff. We did mostly, at least for the beginnings of the kids' lives, mostly breastfeeding. So there wasn't quite as much as like sterilizing bottles or something, I guess. Maybe I just don't remember doing a lot of it. But all those little pieces, there's ones that have like little funnels in them.
Oh, no. I think you'll find that there's little sort of rubber caps that separate that can be washed individually. Oh, yes, I do remember. By the way, I put that in a black box in the deep recesses of my mind. And thank you for bringing that up because
all of those people brought it back up.
That was the worst. That was the worst. That was it. Talk about inertia. Imagine when you're like, okay, kid's asleep. Oh, thank God. I just want to. Oh, look, there's 25 bottles plus accessories that need to be like scrubbed down.
Plus accessories, yeah.
That need to be fully like scrubbed down. Okay, well, let's get going on that then.
A bunch of people complained about cleaning up after meals. Crystal Brook with 2 zeros says cleaning up after they eat because kids are animals, obviously. Yeah. But there's a handful of people that complained about cleaning up something a little bit differently. I don't even like talking about it. Gurney Genie, Genee, says that her least favorite parenting task is cleaning up vomit. 100%, she says. Yeah. Obviously. Yeah. My kids, a couple of times in the car, it's been a vomit show that we've had to deal with. That is not a lot of fun. In the car, you pull over at a rest stop. You don't have a lot of supplies with which to clean. Yeah. You're just terrified. It's the beginning of a road trip. You're terrified it's going to smell like puke the whole time, which I will just burn the car down. I'll just burn it. I can't deal with that. Yeah.
No, that's but that seems like we actually covered that in one of our episodes as an entire
the whole
and that's
stuff.
And that's where puke bowl came in, and that's why we have a puke bowl because I got tired of.
You don't bring it on trips.
No, but I'll fashion one.
Because most of my puking happens in the car. I'm going to be honest.
Is it yours or your kids?
My kids. Kathy.Crook says that scrubbing vomit out of a car seat is her least favorite thing, which car seats are tough to clean. And if you happen to be on like a road trip, there's going to be like little puddles of that. If they puke in the car seat, you get it all off them, you change them, you think you've gotten everything. There's like little nooks and crannies in between the fabric and the plastic. There's some vomit.
And the best is when you're like, oh wait, there's a fold here, and it's just like, well, here's like a quarter pound of just whatever it is. Quarter pounder, maybe.
Speaking of car seats, 4/5 of a Kayak says that cleaning out the car of all their crap and then cleaning the car seats from whether they puked or pooped or peed. And I will say I've had to clean the car because to clean the car seat fabric properly, you need to like disconnect it all. And then maybe you put it in the washing machine and dryer, and then trying to reconnect it is an absolute nightmare.
Do you know how many times I've done that? One time.
Once.
I did it one time, and what I did is, the Billy in Predator where he stands in the log, and he just takes a knife. That's what I did with the car seat. I go, never again. I just took one of the hooks that's cut me, and I just crushed my chest. I go, never again. If I'm gonna die here, I'm gonna die on this car seat because I don't want to wash this MRF or another time ever in my life. All I do is vacuum. Never watch.
If it bleeds, we can kill it. A little Predator action. I appreciate the Predator. Deep cut from Predator.
Yeah. But vacuuming the car, actually, I kind of enjoy.
Can I tell you why you enjoy that? Because you're in the fucking garage by yourself.
And it's, you know what, that constant loud sound where like you don't.
I've got earpods in every time. I've got earpods in. I'm listening to a podcast. I'm listening to some tunes. I'm vacuuming the car. I got to clean the car. Your wife's like, "Why is it taking so long, man?" There was a vomit underneath the fabric. It's taking a really long time.
Are you sleeping in there? No.
Just for a couple of days to make sure it's safe.
But you're obviously going to you're doing at the car, like the gas station, right? Where you put your quarter in to get the big industrial car vac. You're not doing.
No. So I have done that, but
you're missing out, man. Because why ruin your vacuum?
Yeah. Okay.
When you can just put this industrial ass.
You're sucking up his goldfish and straws.
Exactly. You don't want that stuff in you're just that disgusting, like, kids.
I don't discriminate really between, I don't care if my vacuum gets dirty. If it's going to damage the vacuum, that's one thing. But do you like pretzel goldfish?
It is going to damage your vacuum. That's
do you like
problem.
Pretzel goldfish, Pete?
I don't know. No, it hasn't really registered. That's not something that resonates with me. I'm sure it'd be great.
Wrong. You're wrong again. You're wrong.
All right.
Again. So Care Page 821 hates strapping them into their car seats. PJ TOPHUSSEY. I didn't even know where to begin breaking that up. PJ Top Hussy says getting a strong, thrashing, stubborn toddler into a car seat.
Oh my God.
I will agree with that. And I will also say getting clothes on like a strong toddler or even like a surprisingly strong baby. You're so worried you're going to like snap their limb that you kind of let them have control. It's really hard to get these kids dressed sometimes. We didn't talk about bath time specifically, but somebody brought up something.
Hold on. Before we go to bath time, I just got to say, wintertime car seat action, I hate you.
Oh, yeah.
I hate you. Wintertime car seat action, I hate you. That's it. That's all I have to say to wintertime. As you're stuffing the kid into like a 7-point harness and like the last little point. I'm the kind of person where like if that last of the 7 points doesn't click, I don't give a fucking shit. Because guess what? That kid's not going to go anywhere. And yes, I'm keeping my voice down because everyone's sleeping. No, everyone's
edit that out for your own protection. So anything that involves you having to loosen or tighten the car seat straps, I don't want any part of it.
No, I'm out. Like, again, like Billy, just like anything to do with it, just like if it's just not super straightforward, I'm out.
So I wasn't going to get into bath time because what we have left is a handful of miscellaneous stuff, and a couple of people ran off a few things. But there's one thing coming up I want to talk about really quickly. So Kim.Guernsey, GURNSCY, she mentions nail clipping. She mentions hair brushing. She mentions opening the snack bags and the packages for them. And then she says drying them off after a bath. And can I tell you how much I hate drying my toddler off? Because he's freaking out because it's cold, because he's wet. And I'm trying to dry him, and he's freaking out because because he won't dry his hair. His hair will never get dry if I don't do it, and he doesn't like that sensation. And I'm trying to dry his limbs, and if you don't dry them enough, then when you're dressing him, the clothes get stuck, and his arm is in the sleeve because it's wet and sticky. I swear to God, I am just like, it drives me insane. And I was so gratified to see Kim Guernsey mention that specific tiny bit, because drying them after the bath is the worst. I hate it.
You know, it's a little known fact that, I mean, most people think that the Hulk became the Hulk due to gamma radiation. It actually happened when he was trying to get his toddler's arm, who said his arm was dry, but it wasn't dry. And after 15 minutes of the toddler then whining about it, Hulk just immediately appeared and became an international superstar.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Hope, Love, and Keto. Is that what it is? The keto diet? Is it keto?
Keto, I think. I don't know.
We've had this conversation before. She says brushing teeth, bedtime routine, buckling in the car seat, and then cleaning up crumbs, which I can't even argue is a small task, because it's constant. It's constant.
Yeah.
Yes, they're everywhere.
We are very crumb aware in our household. very crumb aware.
You're crumb woke.
We are so crumb woke. If there's a kid, in fact, now I've got it so that the kids are like ratting on each other. Oh, he's got to eat over the sink. You can't eat those crackers. You can't eat those. You can't eat those crackers like that over the couch. You got to eat over the sink. And here's what I do. I don't do it. Just do this. A little nod, little approving nod to the one who ratted him out.
Pat Morita at the end of Karate Kid.
You know what I mean? Just a little like,
proud moment.
You know what? Maybe you'll make it. Good one.
Maybe you'll be the one.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
Nemo Phyllis 19, which I think is a play on Philistine. Nemo Philistine hates changing crib sheets. So the thing I hate about that is like maybe the kid pees in the middle of the night, or maybe there's some throw up. So when our kid still slept in his crib, which is kind of a day bed, but he's not really in it anymore now. There's the little crib sheet that goes over the little crib mattress, but a lot of times in between the sheet and the mattress there's like a waterproof casing or some kind of protective thing. And that is the thing that is the worst for me, because we have other sheets, but we don't have any other of those casings. So if something happens in that, guess what? Casing's not going back on. I'm switching everything else out. He's not getting the casing.
Yep. No more casing. And you know what? Casing. Listen, how else are bed bugs going to infiltrate your house?
Oh, please.
So the crib sheet, I'm going to say that doesn't really bother me.
It doesn't bother
you know what?
You're
because
a zen
it's small
kind of guy, though.
No, yeah, I'm super zen because it's super small and it's manageable. But let me tell you a little story about a bunk bed for a twin size bunk bed and the top one. Yeah. Now, you change that sheet and you'll understand how the Hulk really became the Hulk, because the amount of anger that goes into just, first of all, you're already at the ceiling level. There's no standing up. There's no leverage you're going to get to be able to put the sheet on the other end.
You can't find purchase.
I can't find SUNY purchase.
Detective Munch doesn't have a bunk bed, but he has a loft, and it's not as high up as like the ceiling, but it's high enough up that it's really just never been changed. Not doing it. It's a pain. I can't reach over it. It's too tall for me to do without like a stool, but it's not too tall that I can't just barely do it like that, but it hurts my arm.
And you know what? Who's got a stool around here? Jeez, what are you, the Queen of England? Give me a break. I could change the sheet if I had a stool, but come on.
I can't afford a stool.
Give me a break.
During the quarantine?
Oh my God.
Carrie Penny says she hates bedtime stories. Good call.
Yeah, I do.
I find it wholesome and enjoyable? Shut up, Pete.
No, I don't find it wholesome and enjoyable. I do find I ask for the shortest story. Every night I put my son to bed. Well, no. There's no possible way I could get away with it.
Oh, he catches you?
Oh, I mean, he has busted me not so many times, but enough times where he'll triple check a page. He'll like get to his like little fingers will be rubbing like the page. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, buddy, look, it says 5 and this is 6. Okay. FBI agent Mueller.
It's funny you mentioned my toddler has started to notice as well. It gets harder to do. And then if you blow it, then you spend twice as long on that page instead of cutting it short.
So then what I tell him is it's now just size. I'm like, okay, you gotta pick the smallest, shortest book. He's like, no. I'm like, you know what? Otherwise, I'm not gonna read you a book, because first of all, we're letting him stay up longer now.
Yeah. And
he's getting a little bit more screen time and stuff. And if you're putting to bed at like 8:30, which is kind of late, normally we get him to bed probably like 7:30. Mm-hmm. And 8:30 you're starting to get into like other kids need to get to bed, and it's just there's a lot. And so he's like, oh, I need a book. I'm like, all right, get a book that's like the color one. He's like, I want a story arc. I'm like, look, red circle.
I need some character development.
Green triangle. Come on, man, this is a classic.
I usually just say no. It's too you guys screwed up bedtime. Not tonight. Maybe tomorrow we'll read one, and then it goes on for weeks and weeks. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I read him a bedtime story. Let's be honest. So a couple of other ones people mentioned. TK6927 says changing batteries for an annoying ass toy. You just don't do it. Sorry, they don't make these batteries for this toy anymore.
Wait. So I'm gonna
batteries that you need to unscrew the back.
Little pro tip: do you know that the best purchase I've ever made, and this was not for this purpose was a set of it's not like eyeglass screwdriver. It's like the very thin ones.
Yeah.
It's more for like computer, like it's the ones where they're really thin. I got a set for something. I think someone had locked a door and I needed to jimmy it open or whatever. But I use those things all the time for exactly this purpose, for all those tiny little, like that little screw that you have to unscrew to put the batteries in. I'm always stupid. Like, it's so stupid, but you know what? I'm prepared. I don't have to break out the big ass like screwdriver. It doesn't really fit. Anyway, that's really changed my life, because we've what I've found is now I can put batteries in the remote control car that they got, like that they screamed about for 4 years, and we got them. And I put batteries in, and now it's like there's another couple hours they got. They're just playing with that 2 hours.
Because they're gonna go off and play with that.
Yeah. So I'll like,
to me, it's not worth it. If I gotta unscrew a door, guess what? The thing's going in the trash.
Yeah.
All right. What else?
Oh wait, there's one here about putting Dark Crystal 122.
Putting socks on. I did want to mention that. Yeah.
So my kids suffer, unfortunately, from a syndrome that's affected them their entire lives, which is no Sock Itis, or no sock syndrome, which is they simply are unable to put socks on. So they'll get fully dressed, and I'll be like, "Hey, are your socks on?" And their whole day will be spent without their socks. And they'll have them they'll be bundled together, and they'll carry them around with them. Let's say the day starts at like 7:38. We're talking like 2 or 3.
Walk around with them, they just won't put them on?
Yeah, that's right. Because this illness, no Sock Itis, is really devastating, and there's a lot of kids suffer from it. And I've been talking to my kids about it, and there's really not much we can do. So
my kids usually just can't find socks. They don't walk around with them. And then I do have to usually put them on. But I've gotten to the point where, like, if we're leaving, I used to be like, you have your socks and shoes on, but now I'll just go look at their feet, and I always know they're bare feet all the time. They're always bare feet. So Katie Ellen 321 said that too, putting socks on, which is hard. Like, my toddler thinks it's playtime, and he's like twisting around and stuff, and I'm like, God damn, I gotta get these socks on so we can get the shoes on and we can leave. Is it taking forever? God. So this is another one I wanted to call out. So somebody said, Mrs. in the Rocky said, wiping runny booger noses, which is definitely gross. It's kind of I was gonna say it's a seasonal thing, but really it's just like a toddler thing. Their noses are always running. But here's a definite seasonal thing. Justine Miller, 90, said putting their sunscreen on. Oh my God. I don't even like putting sunscreen on myself, and I will burn to a crisp. Putting it on your kids, especially like a little toddler when their skin is still fair.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It is the absolute worst. The only saving grace, they're not hairy. Makes it easier.
Ah, okay. Right? I see where you're going with this. Right? Okay.
Because one of the worst things is, like, if you're putting sunscreen on your own legs, you know, a little Sasquatchy. Yeah. Oh, it's just gross. The sand gets in it. I don't even want to talk about this.
So gross. Yes.
So this is something we haven't gotten into yet, but Cotton Farmer AZ, one of our newest patrons, says that he hates driving his teens stupid places to hang out with his friends. So I'm not into the chauffeur portion of my life, and since we live in the city, it might be a little bit different. But I have to imagine, like, whenever your kid needs to go somewhere, like when they have their own social life, having to bring them somewhere, and then you're not even going, you're just going home, and then later you got to go get them again.
I can only imagine the going to get them. See, it's the one thing to drive them there. Okay, fine. You're going to go out. You're going to hang out with your friends. Fine. But to then be like, oh, shit, it's like 10:30. I got to go get my kid.
Oh, my God.
It's that inertia. It's like 10:30. You're at wind down. You beers in. You're like, you're done. You're in the hangar. And then you got to come out. You got to go back up in the air. With these ungrateful passengers. Now I don't even like to
think about this coming to pass soon.
My God.
Having to do that. You can't even relax all night because you know you got to go get your kid.
Damn it.
It's a nightmare. Dad, can I sleep over? Yes, just stay. I'm not coming to get you. I'll get you in the morning. So here's another one I wanted to bring up. KSMWVU said swing pushing because it's endless and usually takes a bribe to get them off.
Oh, my God.
My toddler could sit on a swing forever. And he gets to the point where, like, he'll order me around, push from the back, push from the front. And if I'm like, sometimes I would be working from home, but I'll take the kid to the playground. I'll be looking at my phone. He'll start screaming at me if I'm looking at my phone while I'm pushing him. Right. What am I supposed to do? This isn't fun for me. Just doing this over and over. And you're kicking me occasionally. Oh, thanks.
You know what?
Nothing to say on that one?
Here's the thing. Honestly, this is enough. This is too much. I'm loaded up. I can't. I'm filled to the brim with some sort of Hulk-like rage at just everything that we're talking about. I can't do it anymore.
It will never end. Ash at the beach said putting on shoes or a coat. These are really tiny things that are really hard to do.
Did you say at the beach?
No, her name is Ash at the beach. Not even at the beach, just every day.
I was gonna say putting shoes on at the beach is probably a confluence of just the worst things ever. But anyway, yeah.
Then after the sunscreen, oh my god, it's just the absolute worst. So Miss Lisi says breastfeeding at 3 a.m. while my husband is passed out. Well,
yep. Well,
I usually took the middle of the night one myself.
What do you know why? Do?
I'm a good guy.
You know, Mike, you are. That's why you've got such an amazing empire that you've built based on just sheer rage and anger. Oh, you're breaking it out early. Okay.
It's as good as I got. Sounded as good as it gets.
Oh my God. I hope was awful, that. But I crushed it. Did that signify the end of this?
It did. That's what we're gonna do from now on. I'm gonna play Heart and Soul at the end of the podcast.
Is that what it's called? Heart and Soul?
That song is called Heart and Soul.
By Tapao?
No, I think it's by I think it was by DeBarge.
Okay. All right.
You don't even know who DeBarge is. It's by Lisa and Colt Jam.
Okay, I hear words coming in.
It's by Cameo.
Understand what you're talking about. Okay.
It's by SWV actually.
All right, should we go? We got some comments. Do we get everything? Are we good?
I think we got everything. I mean, look, we're never gonna run out of things to complain about, so we'll circle back.
Yeah. We'll definitely get back. Should we go? We got a couple comments on the last
getting kids to help on the chores situation.
Yeah, we got Heather Smith wrote a amazing piece.
Heather from the DMV, which again is not the Department of Motor Vehicles. It's the Delaware, Maryland, Virginia triangle, or the District of Columbia, Maryland, Virginia little pocket there.
Although that handle DMV, you got to really know what you're doing to give yourself that DMV, to that moniker.
Call herself
right?
that?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's a newish thing that I've been hearing the past few years. Maybe not new to the people in that region, but only fairly recently have I heard the DMV as kind of a nickname for that area. They needed something, I guess. They got to work on a better. I like it when they call that area the swamp. Drain that shit.
Yeah.
So she says she has a 6-year-old who's almost 7 and a daughter.
But so this was her comment on getting kids.
This is her comment on the chores episode. Yes, she has a 6-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old who's almost 13 daughter. The 6-year-old wants to help with anything and everything she possibly can. She only prays this continues. She can only pray this continues to the age of 18 and she's away at college. Yeah, right. My 12-year-old doesn't want to do shit. She does what her chores are, which clean the kitchen every night, keep the room clean, do your laundry. Clean the kitchen every night. That's a pretty good one. Do your laundry, but she never goes the extra mile. However, I asked her to clean their bathroom because the girls share one, and she asked, do I get paid to clean the bathroom? I didn't think about paying her, but as I physically cannot get the tubs clean and the lower tile clean on the wall, I said, sure, $20 if you do it well. I had to be not so picky with those standards, but she did it with no issues, $20 in hand. I would say that giving her $20 is an issue. That's a lot.
$20? I mean,
how often is she cleaning it?
Is this prorated or what? Are we doing? Is this like $20 for 4 cleanings, or what are we doing?
This is what I'm saying. Is it like she is a one-off deal? You just gave her $20 for the bathroom, and now she thinks she can do it every week for $20?
Yeah, or is it like a little
once
steep.
Every 2 months she does it? Because that's fine.
Yeah, that's a little steep, but it's not a bad idea. I mean, that's the way to do it. You gotta find that. We talked about that pressure point. That we got to figure out whether your kid is into TV, screen time or money or whatever. Just find that little thing.
Bondage.
Sure. I mean,
pressure point.
We don't know.
Making it literal. So she also had some praise for some of the ideas people gave us on that episode. One of the ones that I liked, she mentioned, she says, splitting the money into their hand. Half goes in their hand, half goes into their savings is a genius idea. She said in the last 6 months, they just began asking for money for chores. Her husband and she and her husband are going to discuss the realistic chores for the kid to get done. And that's a big thing, making them realistic without making them too minor, because you got to teach them to actually do something for real. Like we have my 9-year-old dust. Dusting isn't a thing.
No.
It's a scam.
Yeah.
She says they also don't want her to interfere, like have her to do the chores at like 10 at night because she has schoolwork and then extracurricular stuff. But she did get rewarded for good grades. This is the mom saying this when she was a kid. $50 for straight A's.
There you go. All right.
That's not bad. $200 every 9 months for being a brainiac. Have you guys discussed being paid for grades yet? My kids aren't quite old enough. It's not until middle school. I don't think I would do that.
Yeah, no, we're not going to pay for grades. I think we're going to just we're not going the, what is it, Laurie Loughton route?
Laughlin.
Laughlin.
She's from Rad, which is a favorite of the Dadberry podcast. Butt sliding.
All right. Well, now these are great ideas. I think we need to internalize them. I'm going to leave on that, on the happy note of kids scrubbing the bathroom and doing thine bidding. That's
I feel like our kids should be paying us. This is my problem with this whole concept.
You know what? Well, they're the ones that choose our nursing home. You know what I mean? So we got to be nice to them. We got to be nice to them.
It's a good point.
All right, my man. I think we got it.
It was nice talking to you, Pete.
It was good talking with you.
We get to see each other's faces and be friends again during this quarantine.
Look at us, bringing us together, closer than ever. All right. Well, we thank you, and thanks for listening, and we will catch you.
Yeah, go subscribe and give us some reviews, and we'll catch you on the flip-flop.
All right.
All right.
Bye. All right. Cool.
I don't know why you would still be watching This Isn't a Marvel Movie, no matter how much I look like Paul Rudd, which you can deny it all you want. It's there, in the eyes, I think. I'm young looking like him. If you enjoyed the podcast, which you obviously did or you wouldn't be listening still, sign up on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you want to listen to. Comment here on YouTube, subscribe, hit that like button. We want to hear from you. Comments, questions, dirty jokes, money, all the money you can give us. We'd love it all. Catch you next time.